Hi friends, welcome back. On this channel I talk about poetry and things that matter in life. And today's topic is an amazing one. Today I am going to talk about how you can have sustainably high levels of dopamine and how research tells us that we can have a healthy relationship with dopamine that increases our motivation, focus and happiness. So first of all, you should know that dopamine is essential for getting anything done in life. It is responsible for all our energy and movements, and the dopamine cycle is intricate, but its understanding is also crucial. Everyone has a baseline level of dopamine. Whenever you do something enjoyable, the dopamine level rises and drops below the baseline, returning to the baseline with time. The crucial thing is the sustainability of that dopamine high. And the baseline also depends on the layering of activities to achieve a dopamine high. For example, taking a walk with music or podcast or audiobooks on, and then walking without these external stimuli becomes kind of a drag. I know I am guilty of it. So what are the few examples of sustained dopaminergic activities? Activities such as cold showers have sustained dopamine highs, whereas smoking has short-lived dopamine highs. Cold water showers can increase the dopamine level up to 2.5 times as compared to your baseline. That's a remarkably high increase. In contrast, chocolate, sex only have a doubling effect on the baseline, whereas nicotine and cocaine are also 2.5 times above the baseline. This increase is comparable to what one sees from cocaine. And I mean about the cold showers. And except in this case, the dopamine high does not rise and crash. Instead, a sustained rise taking up to 3 hours to come back to baseline. And most people report feeling a heightened level of calm and focus after getting out of a cold water shower. So what are the protocols for a healthy relationship to the dopamine system? So looking at the positive and negative aspects of rewards for the behavior emerges a protocol by which you can achieve a better relationship to your activities and your dopamine system. So everybody knows that hard work is hard, and generally most people don't like working hard, but some do. Most people work hard to achieve some end goal. Hard work becomes much more challenging because of the way that dopamine relates to the perception of time. It makes us much less likely to lean into hard work in the future if we feel that a lot of time is being spent to get that dopamine high. So let's look at a case study. An experiment was conducted at Stanford many years ago. So there were kids in nursery school who were drawing pictures because they like to draw. And the researchers, they started to give these kids some rewards for drawing. And when they stopped rewarding, they found out that the kids who initially liked to draw had a less level of enthusiasm and motivation to draw on their own. This is called intrinsic versus extrinsic reinforcement. So when you receive rewards, either self or external, you tend to associate less pleasure with the actual activity itself that evoked the reward. A peak in dopamine from a reward lowers your baseline, and the cognitive interpretation is that you did not really do the activity because you enjoyed the activity, you did it for the reward. When and how much dopamine you experience is analogous to your experience of time, as I mentioned earlier also. So when you engage in an activity, because of the reward that you are going to receive, you start to dissociate the neural circuits for dopamine reward that would have been usually been active during the activity because the reward arrives at the end. It substantially reduces the pleasure achieved from that activity. So what is the answer to this question then? How can you have sustainably high levels of dopamine? So the abstract answer is to enjoy the process of the journey rather than focusing on the goals. And this is the antithesis of the growth mindset, which is striving to be better, where striving itself is the end goal. It delivers tremendous performance. All of us can cultivate a growth mindset. You need to convince yourself that you are enjoying the process. It feels like you are lying to yourself, and in a way you are, but it is the way you will reinforce your brain to start enjoying the process and start to associate with a dopamine release. For example, if you are a student having difficulties studying, sit at your desk and tell yourself that you enjoy study continually. Make yourself believe that you are not studying for a final grade, but you are studying to learn. When you focus only on the trophy or only on the grade or only on the win as the reward, you undermine this entire process. So how do you do this? You do this in the moment of most intense friction. You tell yourself that, okay, this is very painful, and because it's painful, it will evoke an increase in dopamine release later. Meaning it will increase my baseline in dopamine, but you also have to tell yourself that in that moment, you are doing it by choice and you're doing it because you enjoy it and love it. So given all this, one person who comes to mind is David Goggins, and he's an excellent example of it. And many of you are probably familiar with him. He's a former Navy SEAL, and he has made a post-military career by explaining and sharing his process of turning the effort into the reward. So this was more or less from a journal point of view, and now I would like to share with you my dopamine triggers, which most of you will also relate with. So my dopamine triggers are that I like to write daily, I like to read daily, I enjoy watching Netflix while I'm eating, I am unable to take a walk without audiobooks or podcast, I am unable to commute without music, audiobooks or podcasts. I sometimes just open my phone or unlock my phone to check a text, which then leads to me checking social media, emails and whatnot. And I also write on Medium, so I at times tend to check my Medium stats, and then I also enjoy watching cricket. Then I go on the sports website and check cricket scores. So what do I do to reset my dopamine baselines from time to time? So first is I mix the genres of what I'm writing and take a day off in the week. During the days that I write, I'm not trying to march towards a word count. Rather, I enjoy writing every word because I love writing. I also keep on changing the genres of books I'm reading and skipping days in between of reading, and allot that time to talk to my friends and family. I do dopamine fast once every 6 months for a week, and in that time I am only allowing myself to work, read, write, study, no Netflix, YouTube, games, social media or podcasts. On weekends I try and take walks, leaving my phone at home, and sporadically I leave my AirPods at home or in my bag while commuting. I also use focus mode on my phone to hibernate the notifications. When I'm trying to work on something that requires my concentration a lot, I tend to keep my phone on the other side of the room, far away from my desk, and I turn off the internet at night before going to bed. And when nothing is working, I try to use the Freedom app to block distracting websites for most of the day. And all this information that you heard in this video were gathered from 3 scientific papers, and I'll mention them in the description below. And I hope you got some value out of this, and I'll see you again next time. If you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe, like and comment to support me in creating more videos like this. I will see you again next week.